I'm sorry for what was done to you by people who were employed by WHO to serve and protect you. I'm sorry for the ongoing suffering that these events must cause. I'm sorry that you have had to relieve them in talking to the Commission about your experiences.
Well, let's speak to Mukesh Kapila now, who joins us from Geneva. He's Professor Emeritus of Global Health and Humanitarian Affairs at the University of Manchester. And he's also the former Director for Emergency Response at the World Health Organization. Welcome to the programme. Your reaction to these revelations that implicate an organization that you worked at before?
I think, as Dr. Tedros said, everyone must be totally horrified by what happened, because these must be amongst some of the most vulnerable women and girls on the planet, living through a horrendous crisis, which is what the Ebola outbreak was in Congo.
Okay.
So words, I think, fail us to do that. But the important thing is about what organizations do when such incidents happen.
And what do they do? Because this keeps on happening. We saw it in Haiti with UN peacekeepers. We've seen it before, also with other UN agencies, peacekeepers in Africa, and also recently Oxfam, an aid agency. Why does this keep on happening? Who vets them? How does this happen with such vulnerable women?
I think we have to put it in the wider context. Sexual abuse and exploitation is common in all countries, in all cultures, in all types of workplaces all around the world.
But you're there to protect them, with all due respect. Of course, we know the Me Too movement exists. It happens in so many sectors. Just yesterday, we were talking about R. Kelly, but this is humanitarian. You're there to help the women.
Oh, absolutely. And when it happens in those circumstances, then it is even worse than the worst, if you wish. There is no question about that. And that's why a zero tolerance policy has now been adopted by many different organizations. I think the good thing that WHO has done is that it has been very open about this. Unfortunately, from my experience in the United Nations system, and I've been to Congo myself, to these very places in the past and elsewhere, too often the abuses that take place in multinational operations, for example, in peacekeeping, are hidden away. So it's good that WHO is being very open and transparent about it. And the only thing we can do is to ensure that there is organizational, cultural shift, and that management responsibility is taken at the layers of the organization that should have prevented this and reacted quicker.
Okay.
And that
sorry to jump in. What happened to the UN peacekeepers that committed sexual crimes in Haiti? Because we're talking about this not happening again. It's happened again. What happened to those in Haiti?
Well, actually, not very much. What happened is, and not just Haiti, more recently in the Central African Republic, for example, what happened is that these peacekeeping forces, which of course belong to other countries, they're not in the UN's pocket sitting in New York or something. They're contributions from member states. They go back to their countries, and then that's the last we hear about them. God knows what happened.
Shame on them, really. If you say nothing, absolutely.
Yeah, shame on them. Shame on the countries that allow their troops to behave in this way, and shame on those countries, including the peacekeepers who contribute to UN peacekeeping forces, and shame on the leaders of the United Nations at the UN Secretariat in New York, and shame on the Secretary General, who completely whitewashes this whole thing. So the questions you need to address to is at the highest levels of the United Nations system, and these things are going on right now. They're going on in operations around the world. And there are cases not being reported. Go onto the UN website. It's a mockery. The number of cases being reported is minuscule. And we all know that these things are happening in the tens and dozens, perhaps in the hundreds around the world. So it's shame on the Secretary General, shame on the senior officials of the United Nations.
Mukesh, I'm so sorry. I'm going to have to end the interview. And we've run out of time. I would love to speak to you. And I'm sure so many people share our thoughts. Thank you so much, Mukesh Kapila.